Hello, listeners. Been wondering how you can help the show? Probably not. But here are 5 things you can do. 1. Subscribe. Support the show by clicking the subscription link in the show notes. 2. Review on iTunes, on our website, www.afraidofnothingpodcast.com, or on whatever app you listen to. 3. Donate. When you go to our website, click the cute coffee cup icon. Or in the show notes, click the subscription link. 4. Share. Sharing really is caring. Tell your friends and even your enemies to check out the show. 5. Watch. Wait a minute, it's a podcast, not a movie. Actually, it's both. Check the show notes to find out where to watch the documentary. You can also rent it on Prime Video. That's it. Oh, one last thing. Enjoy this episode.
In a world where nothing is known, nothing is certain, reality is not real. Wake up! Be afraid of nothing. I'm Bob Heskey.
Robert.
The host with the ghost.
This is my podcast, based on my paranormal documentary, Afraid of Nothing. Each episode, we talk to people who see life and the afterlife through a different lens. Join me.
Who is this large man? And what's he doing in our bedroom?
As we lift the veil and open our minds to see beyond our eyes lie. This is Afraid of Nothing.
Well, welcome to the second part of our interview with Colleen Costello, the Celtic Medium. In this episode, we're going to go a little bit dark. We're going to first start off about how her process for tarot and for palm reading, and then go into the one episode that really freaked her out and had her fleeing from a location. And then we'll close and talk about other people in her family, the next generation of Celtic Medium. I had a couple questions about your process. I know you do tarot card readings, phone readings, or palm readings. Which of those 3, is tarot your favorite, or what's your go-to?
I don't particularly have a favorite. I think I just do whatever is best for the client, whatever they need, whatever works. My clients come to me and they say, like, when they book a reading or they need a reading, I say to them, what do you need? Like, what do you need? What are you struggling with? You know what I mean? That's the first thing I ask them. You know, do you need guidance? Do you need spiritual guidance? And then I choose whatever is the best method that I think I'll be able to guide them in. Whether I need to use tarot, I always work with Archangel Michael in all my methods. Whether it's mediumship or tarot, I still work with Archangel Michael. So I always call on Archangel Michael to help me with my reading. So I work with him all the time. Of course, mediumship, clients can, ask for mediumship readings. They will say, I want to connect with my mom, or I want to connect with my brother. I get a lot of, obviously I've done a lot of those over the holidays.
Do you forget? Like, I've talked to other mediums in there, like, or even shamans or whatnot. They kind of drain it out and they forget stuff. So when I ask them, like, 2 years later or a year later about something, I forget that they really have to jog their memory because they've had so many other ones.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh my God. Yes, of course. I mean, we do so many readings. There's certain ones that stand out that are so astounding. And like sometimes I'll do a reading and the person on the other side will be so talkative and come through with such amazing information, and they will just be like, boom, they'll come through straight away. Like sometimes I am so shocked myself at the reading that I'll be so astounded that I'll walk away from that reading and be like, I cannot believe that this person gave me so much information that they actually sometimes the person on the other side will talk nonstop for an hour, and I'll be like so blown away that I will not ever forget it. And then sometimes, like I said, it depends on the personality of the person. And sometimes I'll do a reading and the person might be extremely introverted and it's like trying to get blood from a stone, and I'll be like, they might give me very little information. I have no control over that. But it all depends. Like, I love reading tarot. Tarot I really enjoy because I'm a really good tarot reader. You know, I've been reading tarot for, oh my God, over 30 years. I find tarot so easy to read. People find it very hard to read, but I've been reading over 30 years, and I can put out 10 tarot cards and literally look at it and read you in 10 seconds. I can read your whole life in 10 seconds. I can take one look at it and I'm like, I can see everything from 10 cards, past, present, future.
Because it seems like that would be so random to the skeptic, right? Like, okay, I shuffle it, I cut it.
No, my God. Tarot is a very hard thing to read. The thing is, what people don't understand is, well, there's a lot of fake people out there that read tarot. That you can learn tarot by a book. Anybody can pick up a book. But to read tarot, I mean, yeah, you can pick a card and you can look up the meaning in a book. But to be an expert tarot reader, you need to know every combination of cards. You need to be intuitive. You need to know if this card... Do you know that this is like a million combinations of way cards can come up? You have to be in tune with the person. You have to know exactly what they're asking. You have to be able to look and see. Like, I have my own interpretations of the cards because I learned to read myself. I intuitively learned myself. So I put them out, and I get people who call me. Sometimes I get people that are trying to be smart and they're like, I know how to read tarot. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, but you know, just because you know how to read doesn't mean you're going to get the same meaning from me. And they'll say, oh, what did you say that card meant? And I'll tell them, and they'll be like, that's not how I read it. And I'm like, okay, well, do you want me to read it, or do you want you know, because then I'll be like, yeah. It's not the way I read it, so different. But I guarantee you, when you get a tarot reader from me, it always be guaranteed that it's a good reading and it's always correct. So it's a good reading. Yeah, I'm a good reader. But I do love tarot reading because to me, I so relax reading tarot. It's so easy. And it's something I've done the longest, I suppose. You know, anything you've done a long time, you just so relax with it. Mediumship, like I said, varies so much because I don't have control over it, because it's the spirit that has control over it. So going into a mediumship reading, I don't know what's going to happen. So it's the same as a paranormal investigation. You don't know what's going to happen. You go into it, you open up I open up to spirit. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to be said. I don't know what's going to happen. But it's exciting because it's a different way. It's a completely different reading. It's like the same thing happens when I do a paranormal investigation. Doing a paranormal investigation and connecting with spirit on a paranormal investigation is completely different again, because now you're dealing with ghosts, which are not the same as dealing with spirit of loved ones who are crossed over. You could be dealing with angry spirits. You could be dealing with spirits who are trapped, who are caught in a haunted, location. And you have to be a lot more on guard. You have to protect yourself. So it's completely, again, they're so different. They're completely different categories.
Which is a good segue, by the way. I want to come back and ask you about palm reading in a second, but the aspect about you have to be on your guard. So can you tell us some of the places that you've been, and then tell us what happened on the USS Salem, which was probably the one time that freaked you out?
Oh my God. Well, yeah, I've investigated so many places. Oh my God, I'm so bad with names, though. So you're going to have to forgive me. Yeah, well, of course, the famous one, the Kreischer Mansion with Paranormal Lockdown, that was awesome, with Nick Ruff and Katrina Weidman. So that was in New York. That was a fantastic investigation, and that was amazing. That's when I did the seance, and that was in 2016. So that was an amazing investigation. The mansion was unbelievable. The energy there was, oh my God, I can't even tell you. And the thing was, what wasn't shown on camera when I did the investigation with Nick and Katrina that time, what wasn't shown on camera is I actually did a whole investigation of the actual whole mansion before we did the seance.
Do tarot cards help in that sort of situation?
I don't use tarot cards in investigations at all, because tarot cards are mainly used for psychic readings. I don't believe in using tarot cards for paranormal investigations. Tarot cards are used for psychic readings. They have nothing to do with connecting with spirits. I don't believe. People might disagree with me. Other people use them in investigations. I don't. Tarot cards don't connect with spirit. I don't think so. That's just my own personal thing. I don't find they're any use to me. I do use dowsing rods. Dowsing rods are amazing. Mainly what I will use in investigation, I will use dowsing rods, which do connect with spirit, and I find them really good when I use them. I use myself as a medium, and I use dowsing rods in an investigation. I don't use equipment. I usually let the other paranormal investigators bring all their equipment. But I'm usually just use myself to connect with spirit. And I usually can sense, negative energy, positive energy. When I walk into a room, I can usually sense different things. So the Kreischer was one. The SK Pierce Mansion, of course, I've been there a couple of times. Oh my God, there was an amazing restaurant that I did up in New Hampshire. Oh my God, I can't remember the name of it now. I was invited to do a party there. And then when I was there, it was haunted, and I picked up all this energy, and my phone kept dying. And then I went back there and did an investigation there twice.
Was that recorded live on a show?
Yeah, but it was when we were there. I actually went there with Rich Boys again, and Jerry and Christian Witten. We actually had a very negative energy in the basement. The first time I went there, I took a photograph down the basement because I had sensed there was a very negative entity in the basement, and I didn't want to go down there. And they kept telling me, go down the basement. And I was like, I'm not going down there because I can sense somebody looking up at me. And when I took a photograph and I got home, there was a spirit looking right up at me. I heard him say he was the doctor. And it turned out that it was eventually that the restaurant previously there was a funeral home there. But this had been used for many, many years. This restaurant is various different things. And but when we investigated there, I got knocked over, like physically knocked over. Yeah, in the basement. It was and we have it on camera. Also, of course, the SK Pierce Mansion, the USS Salem, that was the big doozy. That was the one that scared the hell out of me. I actually was doing a tour, so I was bringing a group of people in, and we did the whole tour. So I brought a whole group of people in to the mess hall. I was assigned to the mess hall, and I did the whole night at the mess hall, and we did our investigating there. And so I had led this group of people, and we were in the mess hall. Again, as we had discussed earlier on, because the USS Salem was mainly men, obviously sailors, the energy for women there was kind of negative. There was a couple of, vibes there that were kind of like, you shouldn't be here. It's just more of a men's area. So there was an earthquake. There was a big earthquake in Greece. And the USS Salem went as a rescue ship, and they rescued hundreds of women and children and men off the island of Greece, off one of these islands in Greece, brought them aboard the ship, and the ship turned into a big rescue vessel. They brought aboard lots of these people. A lot of them died on the ship. And I don't know how long they actually spent on the ship, but I think that was the first time they actually had women and children on board. So there's a lot of spirits left on the ship from that particular time. When I was in the mess hall, I connected with a woman, and this particular woman was desperate, and she was frantic. So she kept frantically looking for her child, her son, and she was going around and round and round and round, frantically looking for her son. So I was trying to find her son for her. And what I had realized was, I can't actually remember because I was so traumatized after what happened at the night. I think what happened was her son had crossed over, and she didn't realize her son had died, and she was still searching for him. So I was trying to let her know that he wasn't there anymore, and that he had crossed over, and trying to let her spirit know that he had crossed over. So a friend of mine who's also a spirit medium, and I got him on the phone, and I was talking to him, and I said to him, what do you think? And he tried to connect with her, and she wouldn't listen to him. So we were both trying to connect with her, and we both realized that we felt that we should try and help her cross over. Now, it's not something that we would always do and would not recommend to do, unless you're aware of it. And I wouldn't do it again because it was probably a bad idea. At the time, I felt it was the right thing to do, because she was so frantic and desperate that I felt like the only way she could be with her son was to help her cross over and be with him. I felt at the time that she was stuck on the vessel, and that she was trapped, and all she was her spirit was going round and round and round and round, and she was stuck on this vessel trying to find her son, and she was in this terrible loop, and that she was going to do this for the rest of her life, in whatever this loop was, and that she was never going to find peace. And it was, I could feel her torment and her pain, and it was so tragic that I felt I had to help her cross over so she could be with her son. And that was, I felt, the only option at the time. So I decided to try and help her cross over. I started the process of trying to help her cross over. And when I started that process, another spirit got involved, which was the spirit of this man who I believed was her husband, that I believed was a really negative spirit for whatever reason, that he was trapping her there. So I was trying to get her to cross over, and every time she tried to cross over, she was afraid of him and he was trapping her there. So we went back and forth between the two spirits, and every time she'd get halfway over, he'd pull her back. So it was such a traumatic thing to try and get her to go over, and he kept pulling her back and he kept pulling her back. I was trying so hard with, at the time, like I said, my friend, my other psychic medium friend was Lewis, and we were both trying to help her cross over, and he would keep trying to stop her. So finally, we all just, with the group, we all just trying to, with all of our energy, tried to help her cross over. And finally, we got her over. And the minute we got her over, there was this whole piece on that area. It was like all the trauma just left, and all this piece just came over that whole area. But everybody was so upset. Everybody could feel the trauma. Everybody could feel the sadness. And all of a sudden, it's like everything just left. It was crazy. So we were all relieved. We were all really happy. It was like everything was good. Everybody was happy that she was at peace. Everything was good. So finally, our time was up. I brought the group back up to the main deck, where all the other groups that had done investigating in other parts of the ships, we all met up at the top of the main deck. And I was like exhausted from this. And so I was just like, oh my God. So I was telling another investigator what happened. And he said, Sam Baltrusis, I talked to him.
Sam Baltrusis is, he's a medium. Is he a psychic or a medium?
He's a psychic.
He's an author. He's a paranormal historian, and he writes a ton of great books.
He's an author, yeah.
But he also is an empath or a psychic, or however you want to label him. And he's been on TV a lot, like you have as well. So just for the people listening, and Sam will be on the show at some point too.
So I went back down and with him and a couple of other people, and we went down to check out to see. I was just telling him what happened when I was down there. He wanted to see where it was. I told him what happened. And as I was talking about it, he saw a big shadow come up behind me. Now, we went down. There was nobody there in the mess hall. Now, it was completely empty. Everybody was gone, so it was dead quiet. So we went down the long corridor, down to the far end of the ship. Went down. So as he was talking to me, his face changed. He saw this big dark shadow come up behind me. And I was like, what's going on? He's like, oh my God, there's this big black shadow coming up behind you. So I was like, what the hell? So I was like, all right, I don't like that. So then two other people arrived, and I kept hearing this squeak on the floor, squeak, 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 like it was a sneaker. And I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. So these other two guys arrived, and I had a backpack with me. So I went over. We were supposed to stay overnight on the ship. That was the other thing. So I had a sleeping bag. I had everything with me. We were supposed to stay where I don't know where that area is called. When they're bunk beds where they sleep. And so I went over, and all of a sudden I got this really negative feeling, and I was like, I don't like it in here. I think we need to go. So I went over, and all of a sudden I heard this buzzing coming from my backpack, and I was like, what the hell is that? So I opened my backpack, my electric toothbrush had switched on. So we all started laughing. We were like, oh, So I turned it off. I closed my backpack, and all of a sudden I got this dreaded feeling like something really negative had just come up from I don't know what side of me. And I was like, something's here. I just was like, I need to get the hell out of here. And I turned around, and all of a sudden, whatever it was came right up behind me and started chasing me. And I'm not kidding you. I don't run. I do not run unless something's on fire. Like, I'm not a runner. Like I said, I'm not athletic. I took off. It felt like this big thing had come up behind me and was chasing me. And Sam goes, run. He's like, just run. And I was like, what? And I just started running, and I could feel like as I was running down the corridor, like of this ship. Now people are coming in my other direction. I'm knocking them out of the way. I'm like, get out of my way. And I could feel like there was this big dark entity behind me, like with its hands out, like coming towards my neck. I'm not kidding you. No lie. The negativity, like this thing wanted to choke me. And I started running. I've never in my life felt this in my whole entire life. Could not get up that ladder stairs. I got to the end. I was screaming. I ran up the stairs out until I started crying hysterically. I'm not scared of anything. And anyone will tell you, I've gone to all kinds of scary places. I'm the first one in. I'll be like, I'll go down to the basement. I'm not scared. I got up to the top part of the deck and I was in hysterics. I was so terrified that thing was still after me. When I got up to the top deck, I was hyperventilating. When I got up to the top deck, everyone was like, what's going on? I was like, that's something after me. So I got up and I finally felt that it didn't come up the stairs. And then I knew I was okay. Whatever it was stayed down below deck. So then when I got up the top of the stairs, there was the gate where you come up on the ramp to come onto the ship. The gate started going bang, 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 like there was some negative thing that was just banging off the gate, like it was angry. And so everybody grabbed their cameras and started videotaping it. And it was like something was mad as hell. So whatever it was that was down there, I was just like, I'm done, I'm gone. I grabbed my stuff, got into my car and left. I drove home. I got home at 3:00 in the morning.
Did you have any attachments with you?
Yes, I did. I actually got an attachment. And I've heard of people having attachments. Not that I didn't believe them. Okay, I won't say that. But I kind of always was like, oh, an attachment. But I was like, oh, an attachment. Oh, but I never believed how scary and how traumatizing an attachment could be. So I came home. I was terrified. My husband opened the door at 3:00 in the morning. He's like, what are you doing here? I was like, I am terrified. He was like, you were supposed to stay on the ship. He was like, I can't believe you left. I was like, I am not ever going back there again. And so I came home, but that night I stayed on the couch for a while because I was so terrified. And then when I went into that bathroom late at night, something started rattling me around, pushing me around my bathroom. And I was like, okay, something was bad. After that, I got so depressed. Everything was so negative. All these bad things started happening to me. It was just, I could not get rid of it. And then I realized and people wanted me to go see a shaman, and it was awful. It was the worst thing ever. It was like this big, dark, negative energy with me afterwards. And I was so traumatized.
So how did you get rid of it? Did you do it yourself or did it leave?
I think I went for a healing. Sound healing. I honestly can't remember, but I was so traumatized for months afterwards. And I never made the connection until a few months later when I realized that I was like, where did this start? Because I got so depressed. I was like, where did this start? And I realized it started on the ship. But it's weird because it sneaks up on you and you don't really realize how scary it is or where it starts until it actually takes over your whole life, and then you realize, oh my God, I was totally fine until I went on that ship.
So how would Archangel Michael or Raphael or someone help you in that situation?
Well, that's how weird. This is what's weird about it, because I always wore, and this is what scared me before I went on the ship, because I always wore my Celtic cross. I always wore an angel wing, and I always wore an Archangel Michael pendant, which is a protective pendant, and a holy medal. Yeah. And the night I was going on that ship, before I left the house, the chain broke on my chain that had all my medals and stuff on it. And I was like, that's a bad sign. And so I took everything and I put it in my pocket. And so I was like asking Archangel Michael, I said, I think I need extra protection tonight. And I had a bad feeling, and it's the weirdest thing, because as I was driving there, I kept hearing turn around, turn around, turn around, and I was like, why do I feel like I shouldn't be going here tonight? And then when I pulled into the harbor, to the car park, and I saw the ship, this fear came over me, and I looked at the ship, and I was like, I should not be here tonight. And I should have listened. Because my intuition is always right. I should not have gone there. I should have known at that moment that I should not have gone there. But I didn't want to let people down, because like I said, I was leading a group of people, and I didn't, that's your responsibility. You're like, I can't just not show up. You know what I mean? I have to be there because I have a job tonight, and this is what I'm supposed to do tonight. So I didn't want to just let people down. So I was like, nope, I need to be here tonight. I need to get this done. I'll just go, I'll get it done. But I literally knew that it was a bad idea.
So, I think my mother's telling you to write a book, not me, because it sounds like you have all this incredible stuff that's happened.
I've always wanted to write a book, and I'm the one that keeps putting it off, I know.
Swear to God, it's got to be you. Much more interesting. So, hey, thank you. We spent a lot of time. I do a couple more quick questions. I know I've kind of overstayed my welcome a little bit, but
sure.
And this seems so anticlimactic going to palm reading after that, but you said you do palm reading too, and I'm just curious, how effective is that?
It's amazing. It's actually really effective. Actually, and I don't really do that much of it, to be honest. It's way down at the bottom of my reading list. That's something I did more when I was younger. That's something that I delved into. I think when I started doing tarot reading, I got really super interested in palm reading. And it was one of these things, and I'd be out and I'd be like, oh, let me look at your palm. But it's fascinating. There's so much on your hand and on your lines of your hand. And actually the lines on your hand can change.
Like the lifeline can change too, right? Can the lifeline change?
All the lines on your hands can change, and the lines in your hand can show trauma. It can show, things that happened when you were younger. It can show diseases. It can show illnesses. It can show so much. I mean, it's weird because I look at, I think back to readings I did for friends, palm readings I did for friends and college friends and, friends I grew up with when, we were teenagers. And I'm thinking like all the stuff I told them almost like came true, it did, like it kind of came to fruition, because I used to say, oh, you're not going to get married till you're 40, and the ones I told them that we're
not friends anymore.
And I remember like my best friend saying, like, when I told her she wasn't going to get married till she was like in I can't remember, I think I told her in her mid-30s or something, and she was like, that's so old. Of course at the time we were like, I think 18 or 19, and she actually didn't get married. She was one of the friends that didn't get married until then. But it's funny because all those things, I mean, I look at mine all the time and I still look at them. Palms are fascinating. I used to go, the reason I think I was interested too, there was always a lady in Galway, where I'm from, Galway, Ireland, that she was a gypsy, and she used to always be on the street in Galway. And she used to always read palms. So, she had this she had this old stool, and she used to sit outside one of the stores, and people used to go, and sit and get their palm read all the time. So she always fascinated me. She was like a gypsy, and she used to always read palms, and I used to always be like, God. But it's an ancient art. I mean, it's very valid. I think it's a very good way of reading. Some people are really amazing palm readers. I think it's a great way to read. I really do. There's a lot of really good ways to read. But again, like I said, you got to get a good reader.
Yeah, so when I see it at one of these conventions, I might go with the palm over the tarot. I'm not sure. I'll have to try that.
Yeah, what I say? Try everything. I go get readings myself. I mean, I go to other people because you can't read yourself. When you're a reader, you cannot read yourself. I don't know if you know that, but...
Well, the Salem story is just one classic example, right? The USS Salem.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, but you can't. I can't read my own tarot. I'm a great tarot reader, but I cannot read my own tarot. And it's so frustrating. But the thing is, too, when you're reading yourself, you're very judgmental, and you're going to try and look into it, of course, make it look good for yourself. Yeah. You're going to look at it and you're going to go, I don't like this card. I'm going to pull another one,
You guys are human like the rest of us.
The only person I trust is Archangel Michael. So when I ask him a question and he gives me an answer, I always trust whatever he tells me, because he always puts me on the right path. That's the only person that I will absolutely trust. I do have Archangel Michael cards, and I always recommend them to my clients. I say, go buy these cards. They're awesome, because you don't have to be a reader to get them. They're fantastic. You just pull a card and it gives you guidance. Yeah, I think I've talked your ear off.
No, I have about another minute left of you. That's great. And so one thing I wanted to ask was, you have 2 children, and a question we always have is, one, were anyone else in your family psychic, or are any of your children psychic?
Well, I'm adopted, so I only know one of my biological parents, and my biological mother is not gifted in that area. So, and I don't know my biological father, so it must have come from that side. Now, my children, my son, yes, he has very good intuition and is gifted in that sense. I mean, ever since he's been little. I mean, he has seen spirit. He has physically seen. Now, I don't physically see spirits. I see them in my third eye, and I can, communicate with them and all of that. But he has physically seen them. Like, I brought him to haunted houses with me.
Really?
I actually was at Parafest Maine last year, which was really cool. And I brought him to the Parafest with me, and He's helped me set up my table. He sat with me. He's a teenager now, and he loved it. It was so cool. He thought it was awesome. And we stayed at a haunted house, haunted B&B, and we were having breakfast. It was so cool. We were having this beautiful breakfast in it was an antique home. And we're sitting there, and all of a sudden he goes, oh, he's like, who's that the lady with the blonde hair that just walked by the window? And I was like, there's no lady with blonde hair. And he's like, yep, just saw her walk by the window. I was like, well, nobody can walk by the window because there's a hedge right up against the window. I was like, there's no pathway. So when the lady who owned the home came in, I said to her, I said, my son just saw a lady with blonde hair and this colored dress on walk by the window. She said, oh, yeah, that's one of our resident ghosts.
Wow.
Yeah, so he sees things like that, and he's very relaxed about it, actually. I mean, he was the same as I was as a child. He used to get a lot of nightmares. He was terrified, and I knew, I was like, because when he was about 3 or 4 years old, he used to be in his crib, and he'd point to the corner of the room, and he'd say, who's that? Who's that? And I'd be like, here we go. I was like, oh boy,
Yeah. Wow.
And he'd point out things like dogs, like he'd say there was a black dog there and now he's gone. And it turned out there was a black dog that lived in this house, things like that. So, yeah.
Does he see auras too, or is it just
It's funny you asked that. Isn't that funny you asked that? I think you're psychic. Yeah, actually, he used to see auras, but he kind of auras are something that you have to kind of work on. So, like, I can't see auras, but he used to see auras, and he used to tell me that I had this color around me and other people had that color around them. But he kind of stopped doing it. I think if he worked on it, he could probably see them again. Yeah.
Yeah. Something tells me we'll hear from him in the future. I have a feeling about him.
Well, many psychics have told me when I brought him places with me, or he's come to see me at work, when I've worked in other locations and stuff, since he was little, people said to me, oh boy, they said, he's even more gifted than you are. They said, he's going to keep you on your toes. And I was like, oh gosh, yep, I had a feeling. So.
Yeah. Like on your Facebook page, when you check, not saying I'm stalking you, I'm sorry, Kelly, but like when you see pictures and stuff and you have your kids or like you see posts from people, he just has, your daughter's great too, but he has a very calm, kind
He's an old soul. He's an
I was going to say an older soul. Same thing.
Oh my God. The minute he was born, he just was like the calmest baby. I looked at him and I was like, you've been here before, buddy. And he was just like, he's got this beautiful calmness about him. Everybody, he's calm. He gets along with everybody. My daughter is the same, but she's more, I always say like, she's new. She's got that newer personality, she's I used to say, oh, she hasn't been here before. She's new. But yeah, he's definitely an old soul. I'm an old soul. I'm like, oh my God, I've been here so many times. I'm like, boy, if I've been around the block, reincarnated many, many times.
In a good way.
In a good way. Yeah, in a good way.
That's funny. Hey, the last question is, how can people contact you and kind of do readings with you? And what's the best places? On Facebook, a website, email?
Yeah, definitely. I'm all over Facebook, as you know. You can just find me on Facebook under Colleen Costello, or you can go on my Facebook page, which is Colleen Costello, the Celtic Medium. And you can message me on there, just private message me on there. Also, I give out my phone number. I'm not afraid to give out my phone number. It's 603-508-2475. Text me or message me through my Facebook page or anywhere like that. And also my webpage is theangelicspirit.com. It needs to be totally updated. I apologize. But you can also book readings on there. You can message me through that also. But any of those things, like I said, and you're more than welcome to text me and book a reading or ask me questions about readings or anything like that. And I'm available for private readings. I also do spirit parties or spirit circles where people can book and have me come to your home, where I do gallery readings at your home, where I connect with groups of, you can have a group of people where I'll connect with spirit for you. Kind of like what Teresa Caputo does, where she goes to people's homes and stuff like that.
And we should say you're based in Massachusetts, where those type of services are.
I'm actually...
you do phone readings.
I'm actually based in New Hampshire, Pelham,
New Hampshire?
Yes,
okay,
I'm
sorry
actually,
about that.
Pelham, New Hampshire. I'm right over the border. But I can go to New Hampshire. I can go to Massachusetts. Yeah, I do all areas.
And the spelling of your name, so make sure it's Colleen.
Yes.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
First name. Last name spelled Costello. So if they look for you on Facebook, that's how they would spell it. Okay.
Yes.
Hey, beautiful. What a great interview. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Bob. It was really fun.
You've been listening to the Afraid of Nothing podcast. Please subscribe and like us on Facebook. Until next time, stay scared. Hey, you're still here? Great. Then why not listen to another episode? Visit afraidofnothingpodcast.com to peruse all the shows. That's afraidofnothingpodcast.com. And while you're there, click the coffee cup icon to buy me a coffee and leave a review. I'll give you a shout out in an upcoming episode, and the world will know how swell you are.